Playoff baseball, the WNBA Finals, and the NHL drops the puck. All that on your morning Buzzcast for Wednesday, October 8th. I'm Abe Madkour. Thanks for listening. Like I said, the NHL started last night. 3 games, and the Florida Panthers raised a second Stanley Cup championship banner before beating the Blackhawks. So what is the state of the NHL? Well, Gary Bettman has stressed how impressive it is that the Panthers are going for a three-peat, saying that the competitive balance throughout the league is so strong that it's extraordinary for a team to win the Stanley Cup twice, let alone going for a three-peat. But don't sleep on the Edmonton Oilers, who were in the final last year. They're primed to make another run after re-signing Connor McDavid to an extension. That shows McDavid's temporary commitment for now to Edmonton and aiming to win a cup in Edmonton. So what else about the NHL? Well, one of the keys, returning to the Olympics after a 12-year absence. Yes, the league will shut down for 3 weeks around the competition in Milan Cortina. And while this is disruptive to the league season, the players really wanted it, so it was very important to go back to the Olympics. Overall, I think the league should feel much better about its international calendar. It has a global series in Sweden in November. There are a number of cities bidding to host the World Cup of Hockey for 2028. That shows the appeal and impact of that event. Don't forget, there was a 4-year CBA signed with the union in July. There is a new 12-year rights deal in Canada starting next year. Gary Bettman and the league moved on from the challenges of the Phoenix market and can now enjoy the success of the Mammoth, which is really one of the hottest new brands in sports. And you would have been laughed at years ago if you said that Gary Bettman's Sunbelt strategy would result in 2 outdoor games in Florida, and where the Panthers and Lightning have won 4 of the past 6 Stanley Cups. So overall, the NHL sits in a very good place, and there is potential expansion down the road. But Bettman has made it clear they are not actively pursuing expansion, even though cities like Houston, Atlanta, Quebec City, Kansas City, Phoenix, and Scottsdale all are interested. So again, they will look at future ownership, market size, facility, and arena, and they will make a decision based on that. But right now, the NHL has to feel good as it starts its season. Let's move on. We know how difficult it is to start a league, and the United Football League is still finding its way. This is the Spring Football League, and now it will launch new teams in Louisville and Orlando, alongside a previously announced new club in Columbus starting next year. So they're in those markets, and they will leave the markets of Memphis, Detroit, and San Antonio. So they are new markets, and some teams have new names. The Houston Roughnecks will now revert to the old USFL branding and be called the Houston Gamblers, and they will move to Shell Energy Stadium downtown. The Arlington Renegades, they will now be called the Dallas Renegades, and they will relocate to Toyota Stadium. So these teams will be playing in soccer-specific stadiums with capacities of 25,000 or fewer. Why is that? Well, ticket sales have been an issue, and ownership does not love to see a big building really not full of fans. So they're going to more smaller, intimate venues. They'll try to drive ticket sales and improve the in-venue atmosphere and environment. So again, we're seeing new teams in new markets with new names playing in new facilities. So a lot of changes at the United Football League. Here's one story I'm keeping an eye on: the future of the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are still studying their stadium options. They're looking at potential future homes in both Missouri and Kansas, and they are weighing the options of a renovation or an entirely new stadium. They are looking at a renovated Arrowhead Stadium. They'll also look at an option of a new dome stadium in the state of Kansas. So they are looking at multiple sites in Kansas and a new football stadium in that state like I said, would include a dome and a price tag of about $3 billion. So this is a big decision that the Kansas City Chiefs are weighing, and everybody in that marketplace is keeping an eye on this decision, whether to stay in Arrowhead or move across the border into Kansas. A pretty defining decision for the organization. No timetable has been set on when the team will finally go public with any future move. But make sure you're keeping your eye on the future of the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's shift to baseball. Playoff baseball is happening, but the new owners of the Tampa Bay Rays met the media and they said the team's intention is to have a new ballpark anchored by mixed-use development in the Tampa market ready for opening day 2029. That is their priority, and let's just say that is incredibly aggressive. Now, the new ownership is in the early stages of evaluating potential sites in the area. The ballpark, probably with an enclosed dome, would be a private-public partnership. There was no specifics, but they want to target at least 100 acres. They want to build hotels, office, retail space, restaurants, bars, and music. It'll be similar to the Battery outside of Atlanta. Ownership said that's what you have to do today in sports to be successful. But do not look for the team to increase player payroll in the near term. Ownership said the economics of the club have not changed. Translation, we are not spending more money on player payroll. So the Rays will return to Tropicana Field with a repaired roof next spring to start the season. So how did all of this play locally? Well, one local columnist, the Tampa Bay Times' John Romano, has covered the Rays for years. He has seen it all. He wrote of new ownership, quote, "They were affable, self-deprecating, and seemed sincere. They said all the right things about being stewards of a community asset." He said there were no missteps, but there was also very little in the way of details, and that speaks to the challenge that lies ahead. He finishes by writing, "The first 30 minutes went well. The next 30 years will be trickier." End quote. The bottom line, a new day in Tampa is off to a positive start. What hasn't been positive at all? Bill Belichick's return to coaching, and the news coming out of Chapel Hill keeps getting more and more concerning about the state of the program. The Belichick storylines continue to be a negative for the school, and now comes the news that the program's season-long documentary with Hulu is no longer happening. That's according to a report by On3. Remember, UNC originally planned to take part in a docuseries with Hulu. Belichick announced the plan in front of the team in August. It was all over social media at that time. But here, the team sits at 2-3 through 5 games, and certainly the performance of this team and Belichick and his coaching staff have not been worthy of any documentation or storytelling, so they're pulling the plug on a docuseries around the UNC football program. And do you remember how popular the Skins game was? It was a wildly popular golf contest. It will return on Black Friday after a 16-year hiatus. It'll be on at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Prime Video. And this starts a day that Prime Video, of course, will go into their Black Friday football game that has the Bears and the Eagles. Then it will have back-to-back NBA games, Knicks Bucks, Lakers Mavericks. Bottom line, Prime Video is trying to own Black Friday, and so now they start the day with the Skins game. Justin Thomas and Xander Schauffele face off against Keegan Bradley, Tommy Fleetwood. That's on Black Friday. Again, Prime Video putting a big flag in the ground on Black Friday. We will end the Buzzcast around a name in the news. Veteran sports marketer Jeff Price is leaving the PGA of America to be the CEO of the Heisman Trophy Trust. This is a new position. He will start in December, and he brings more than 35 years in the industry, the last 11 at the PGA of America. He was at Gatorade, MasterCard, the NBA, SI, the Sporting News. It has long been thought that the Heisman Trophy and the Heisman brand has been under-commercialized and under-amplified. But Jeff Price brings a lot of business acumen to the Heisman Trophy. He believes they can grow that brand, that there's a lot of runway to that brand as well. He'll be based in New York, turnkey ZRG assisted on the search. No word yet on Jeff Price's replacement at the PGA of America. So the takeaways from today's Buzzcast are, number one, the United Football League, the Spring Football League, is revamping itself around new team names, new markets, and playing in smaller, more intimate soccer-specific venues to improve the game day atmosphere. Number two, Amazon is looking to own sports on Black Friday, the biggest shopping day of the year, as they now have a new version of the Skins game leading into the NFL and NBA action to keep consumers watching and shopping all day long. Number three, first impressions are important for new ownership, but it's more about the long-term follow-through. The new owners of the Tampa Bay Rays are talented and business savvy, but they know they have a long road ahead. And the fourth takeaway, the Heisman Trophy and Heisman Trust is seen as very valuable, yet a under-commercialized asset. And you could see more revenue growth and revenue generation behind its new CEO, Jeff Price. And so that is your morning Buzzcast for Wednesday, October 8th. I'm Abe Madkour. Thanks for listening. Stay healthy. Be good to each other. I'll speak to you tomorrow.